So, hopefully, Cossie fixing day. We're at Rallispec down in South Jersey, and yeah, just hopefully try to get some oil pressure in this thing, get this thing done. Lots of transmissions, lots of motors, and the Cossie. Alright, so we took the distributor out and looked at a few things and figured some stuff out. We drove the oil pump drive shaft with a 6mm hex, like so, and a really long extension, and we drove it with a drill. We got oil pressure to finally show up in this thing, and she's running good. So we're just getting it finalized to basically go for a quick test drive, and then we'll put her back on the trailer and she'll be ready to go. So big wang. So after some oil pressure issues, this beautiful Cossie Escort is finally ready for some test driving. So apparently these things just inherently have low oil pressure at idle, and they take forever to get the oil pressure up in these things. And basically yeah, we checked over a bunch of different stuff. We think that maybe somehow the drive shaft for the oil pump was not engaged in the oil pump, because it's actually driven off the distributor, which there's some gears on the distributor. Yeah, so we thought maybe there was an issue with that. We looked at all that. We were able to basically engage the drive shaft into the pump and then prime it with a 6mm socket and some long extensions, and basically a drill or a ratchet to spin the pump to get the oil pressure up. Yay, we got oil pressure. So we went through and we basically started with a 1040 break-in oil. We decided that we would drain that, cut open the oil filter, make sure that there was nothing alarming in the oil filter, even though it is a brand new motor. And then we checked the oil filter, everything was cool. We decided to put in 1560 weight Le Mans Motul 300V, and that helped with oil pressure a little bit more. But of course, the way that this thing idles and the way that the oil pressure works in these particular cars, and we've looked on the internet, we've asked friends who have Cossies, they've looked on the internet. Thank you, Mike, for all the help on that stuff. And apparently this is just normal. Of course, these factory gauges, they're 30-something years old. They may not work. They may work accurately. Who knows? So, you know, there is that in the air. So I'm going to show you guys some stuff on this, just so you can see really how this all works. So turn the key on, get all the lights will go out once we start it. But basically the oil pressure light is this guy right here. That light will go out at basically 7 psi. So when we start the motor, it will take a few seconds for that light to go out, and then we'll watch the oil pressure gauge up here. But basically, let's give it a crank. So light went out pretty quick. I did have the car just running, but you can see here, oil pressure is really kind of low, but that light being out, that's a good thing. So that's a plus. There is a little bit of a ticking noise, but that is definitely associated with oil pressure. You can see the oil pressure line needle has come up just a hair. It's just in the zero there, and as it slowly builds a little bit of pressure, it gets in there. Of course, the tick starts to go away. So, you know, if we give it, I don't know, we'll give it like a little bit of revs, not even that much, and you'll see pressure just starts to build and noise is virtually gone. But super sketchy. Like, these motors are expensive, not cheap, and that freaked me out quite a bit, because I'm so not used to that. So, but even with revving it, you see the pressure drops back down. And you know, if we take it for a drive, I haven't taken it for a drive yet, but if we take it for a drive, that noise, once the engine oil is hot, that oil pressure needle will drop a little bit more and get closer to that zero, which apparently is super common, super normal. And yeah, it'll start to tick a little bit, which is, you know, a little sketchy in my book. But apparently I'm being told that's normal. So we're gonna put some miles on this thing, and hopefully, fingers crossed, everything is good, and we'll get this car back to them maybe Friday, maybe tomorrow night. So one weird thing about Cossies that you should probably know is that we've been to a few different gas stations and none of them had nozzles quite this long, and you need a nozzle this long to get down into the hole, which is actually, let's see if I can pull out my phone. Give me a second here. I want a receipt. Yep. So you see the hole way down in there? So yeah, some of the shorter nozzles that I was getting at some other gas stations didn't have the reach that we needed to get this thing in there to actually put gas in this car. So kind of ran it back on fumes, and now it's got fresh gas for the first time in a year. Woohoo! So, whew, man, is it cold out there. But yeah, interesting, weird things that you run into with this car. Very interesting.